What do you think of when you hear the term load management thrown around?
It shouldn't be needed, first and foremost. I'm trying to make a name for myself. There's no way I can sit. I need to get out there and show what I'm capable of. I want to play. I want to win. I want to make an impact. The fans are there to watch me play. I want to impress that guy way up on top who probably worked his ass off to get a ticket.
Michael Jordan didn't just play basketball, he lived it like a vow. For him, stepping on the court wasn't a choice, it was an obligation. He carried a rule in his head so fierce it bordered on madness. If you can walk, you play. No excuses, no exceptions. Across 15 seasons, Jordan suited up for all 82 games 9 times, even in his late 30s, when most players would have been icing their knees and saving energy. When he returned with the Wizards' older, slower, and nursing joints that had survived wars on hardwood, he still refused to rest. Fans came to see Michael Jordan, not the bench. He once said, "If a fan worked all week to buy that ticket, I owe him everything I've got." And he meant it. That's what made the man mythic. It wasn't just the 6 rings or the highlight reels. It was that unspoken promise that when you paid to see Jordan, you got all of him. Pain, exhaustion, heartbreak, none of it mattered. The 1997 flu game became the symbol of that creed. Barely able to stand pale and drenched in sweat, Jordan played 44 minutes, dropped 38 points, and collapsed into Scottie Pippen's arms at the buzzer. That wasn't performance, that was devotion. He turned sickness into spectacle, pain into legacy. To Jordan, greatness wasn't about feeling good. It was about showing up when every cell in your body told you not to. That was his code: play through it, fight through it, and never cheat the people who believe in you. And that fire didn't die with him. It spread. It became a virus that infected an entire generation of players who believed showing up wasn't optional. It was sacred. But that obsession didn't stay contained to Jordan. It shaped a brotherhood built on pain, pride, and purpose. Jordan's fire didn't end with him. It lit torches in the hands of men who carried the same code, a brotherhood of grit that believed basketball wasn't just a job, it was a duty. Kobe Bryant was the most obvious disciple. He tore his Achilles in 2013, a career-ending injury for most. But instead of collapsing, he walked to the free throw line and sank both shots before limping off. That moment became a message: pain doesn't excuse you from greatness. Years later, when asked about load management, Kobe laughed. He couldn't even process the idea of sitting out. "What the heck is load management?" he said. "If you can walk, you play." It wasn't bravado, it was instinct. Then there was Allen Iverson, 6 feet tall on paper, 6 feet of defiance in reality. He played every game like it was a street fight: taped fingers, bruised ribs, sprained ankles. The man never cared about preserving his body. He cared about earning his respect. On the New Heights podcast, he once said, "You could never come to me and say, 'AI, you're resting tonight.' That's a suspicion, man." For Iverson, sitting healthy wasn't strategy. It was disrespect. Charles Barkley never sugarcoated it either. On live TV, he ripped modern players for cheating the fans, calling them pampered millionaires afraid to work 4 nights a week. Magic Johnson echoed that frustration. Load management is hurting the game, he warned. To him, basketball was entertainment, a promise to the people watching. These men came from a different era, one where pain was part of the contract and playing was a form of gratitude. To them, skipping games wasn't self-care, it was sacrilege. That belief, that sacred code, built an empire. But the cracks began the moment one idea changed everything. For years, the code of showing up every night defined greatness. Then came Kawhi Leonard, and everything changed. In 2019, the Raptors made history. Kawhi missed 22 regular season games under a new phrase that would soon haunt the league: load management. The plan was simple: rest him through the season so he'd be fresh for the playoffs. The result? A championship. Suddenly, what used to be seen as weakness was rebranded as strategy. Analysts called it genius science. Coaches called it data-driven recovery. But fans, they called it cheating. Kawhi's success became the blueprint every team wanted to copy. From one player's medical plan, load management morphed into a movement, a culture of strategic absences dressed up as innovation. By the time the league caught on, it was too late. The floodgates were open. In the 80s and 90s, playing all 82 games wasn't a miracle, it was normal. Between 50 and 60 players a year earned the title Iron Man. By 2022, that number had collapsed to 5. 5 players out of hundreds. The proud tradition of endurance, once a badge of honor, became an endangered species. What's worse, the shift wasn't driven by injuries or danger. Today's athletes have private chefs, recovery chambers, sleep tech that costs more than some people's homes, yet they play less than ever before. The culture flipped overnight from grind until you can't to rest until it's safe. Teams started selling fans on the bigger picture. They said rest meant longevity, health, smarter careers. But somewhere along the way, the passion got lost. And as the seats filled with disappointed fans staring at empty benches, one truth became clear: the numbers told a story of comfort overtaking commitment. The logic sounded smart, but the outcome was ugly. The modern NBA looks like paradise compared to Jordan's era. Charter flights, personalized recovery chambers, massage therapists on call, private chefs, sleep coaches, hyperbaric oxygen pods. You name it, players have it. They travel in luxury, eat scientifically, and recover with technology that borders on science fiction. And yet, they play less than ever. It's one of the strangest paradoxes in sports. The generation with the most comfort care and control is the one most reluctant to step on the court. Load management became the safety net, and soon safety became the standard. LeBron James, the face of modern basketball, once said, "If I'm hurt, I don't play. If not, I'm playing." On the surface, it sounds logical. But underneath, it represents a mindset shift, the idea that availability is optional, not expected. Jordan saw playing through pain as honor. LeBron sees avoiding pain as wisdom. It's a different kind of greatness, one polished by PR teams and protected by data charts. Players today talk about sustainability, longevity, and career strategy. But those are business words, not basketball ones. Greatness isn't built on rest. It's built on risk, and that's what's quietly disappearing from the game. What's more, science hasn't even delivered the promised results. Despite all the rest and regulation, injury rates haven't dropped. A 2024 study showed that players who sat out for recovery were no less likely to get hurt later. The theory of preservation became a placebo, comforting but useless. So while the bodies are safer, the spirit is softer. The edge that made basketball feel raw, unpredictable, and alive is fading. Because now it's not about passion, it's about protection. And when Jordan spoke out, it wasn't nostalgia, it was a warning. When Michael Jordan speaks, the world listens, not because he talks often, but because he almost never does. So when he finally broke his silence on the modern NBA, it hit like a thunderclap. Players today are disrespecting the fans, he said flatly. No filters, no PR language, just truth. Coming from anyone else, it might have been brushed off as nostalgia. But this was Michael Jordan, the man who built the league's global foundation. And when the architect says the house is falling apart, people pay attention. He wasn't subtle. The frustration was written in every word. Too many stars sitting out, too many excuses, too little accountability. Jordan made it clear: if a fan pays to see you play, you owe them your effort. Period. That wasn't opinion, it was his law. The reaction was instant. Allen Iverson, Charles Barkley, and Magic Johnson all backed him without hesitation. Iverson nodded like a soldier hearing his commander speak. Barkley doubled down, saying modern players cheat the fans and act like working 4 days a week is torture. Magic echoed it too, warning that load management is hurting the game. These weren't bitter old men clinging to the past. They were legends, defending the culture that made basketball what it is. But what made Jordan's words sting most was their precision. He didn't name names. He didn't need to. Everyone knew exactly who he was aiming at. LeBron James, the self-declared GOAT who's built his empire on control, image, and preservation. Jordan's message was simple: don't call yourself the greatest if you pick rest over rivalry. Because in Jordan's universe, greatness isn't maintained, it's earned every single night. And that quiet dig exposed a deeper divide. Two philosophies of greatness. Two kings, two dynasties, but built on completely different foundations. Michael Jordan played to dominate. Every game was a battlefield, every opponent a challenge to destroy. He wasn't managing minutes, he was hunting moments. To him, rest was for the offseason. His legacy was carved through exhaustion, blood, and defiance. Jordan wanted to own the game, not preserve himself within it. LeBron James, on the other hand, plays to maintain. His empire is strategic, curated, protected, controlled. From his training regimen to his public image, everything is calculated. He's the modern CEO of basketball, balancing performance and preservation. And while that's smart, it's also sterile. You never feel danger when you watch LeBron. You feel management. Jordan saw that difference early. He once said that Kobe Bryant was the only player who truly mirrored his mentality. The obsession, the insanity, the addiction to pain and perfection. He called Kobe his little brother, a man who understood that greatness wasn't convenient. Yet Jordan never said anything remotely similar about LeBron. Not once. Then came the viral clip, that quiet dagger. When asked about LeBron, Jordan smirked and said, "LeBron moves strange. Not like Kobe." It sounded casual, but fans knew it wasn't. Jordan doesn't waste words. In that one sentence, he revealed everything. He respected Kobe's hunger, but he distrusted LeBron's calculation. Because to Jordan, LeBron represents the new era greatness as a brand, not a battle. Kobe embodied the code: relentless work, no shortcuts, no rest. LeBron embodies the brand image: first health, second legacy curated. Both are legends, but one chased immortality through pain, while the other protected it through control. But even the NBA itself eventually had to pick a side. When the NBA finally stepped in, it wasn't out of innovation, it was out of desperation. The league that once prided itself on star power had to create rules just to make its stars show up. In 2023, the NBA introduced the new player participation policy, a move that felt less like guidance and more like a plea. The message was blunt: if you're healthy, you're playing. No more mystery injuries, no more strategic rest. If a player's name sells tickets, that player better be on the court. The policy had 3 major pillars. First, star players are required to suit up for all nationally televised games and in-season tournament matchups. No skipping prime time. Second, teams can't rest more than 1 star in the same game, so fans aren't paying to watch empty benches and warm-up suits. And third, the now infamous 65-game rule: if you want MVP, All-NBA, or Defensive Player of the Year, you need to earn it by actually playing basketball. It was a shocking move for a league once built on pride, not punishment. Back in 2012, Greg Popovich was fined $250,000 for resting his starters on national TV, a fine meant to protect the fans. Over a decade later, the problem became so common that the league had to legislate passion itself. That's how far the culture had fallen. What used to be a point of honor, showing up, giving fans their money's worth, had to be enforced by policy. The NBA wasn't celebrating effort anymore, it was mandating it. And the irony: Jordan didn't need a rule to tell him to compete. Neither did Kobe Bird or Malone. But now the league literally has to bribe its stars to do what used to be instinct. Yet for fans, the damage might already be irreversible. There was a time when every night in the NBA felt sacred. You never knew what you were about to witness: a career game, a rivalry reignited, a legend born in real time. The court was unpredictable, emotional, alive. Players bled for pride, not contracts. Fans didn't check if their favorite star would suit up, they just knew he would. That reliability, that shared trust between the athlete and the audience, was the heartbeat of basketball. Now that heartbeat feels faint. The game has been sterilized by analytics spreadsheets and brand management. Every minute is tracked, every movement monitored, every risk weighed. The raw emotion, the sweat-soaked drama that once made the sport electric, is being replaced by efficiency charts and cautious strategies. Basketball used to feel human. Now it feels managed. The culture that once thrived on grit has become one obsessed with comfort. It's not about who can endure the storm anymore. It's about who can avoid it. Players rest because the data says they should not, because their bodies demand it. Coaches make decisions to protect investments, not inspire moments. Somewhere along the way, the magic got lost. That's why Michael Jordan's message wasn't bitterness, it was alarm. He wasn't longing for the past, he was warning the future. The heart of the game is fading one skipped matchup at a time. And when greatness becomes optional, when showing up becomes negotiable, the soul of basketball begins to die. So here's the real question, not for the analysts, not for the brands, but for the fans. Which star today still plays like they owe it to you? Because if passion disappears from the game, what's left worth watching?